So are you a business owner who's crazy busy but just not moving forward in the direction that you really want? Last week, I had conversations with 3 different business owners who were kind of going around in circles around a strategic direction for the business, like simple, fairly simple stuff for experienced business owners, of which all 3 were. And they had clear ideas of what they wanted, but just weren't able to commit to a decision and take strategic action. So all 3 were smart people. All 3 understood that there was an option A, an option B, and an option C for them, and were clear on the advantages and the disadvantage of each. They were also clear that they were losing time and traction by not making a decision. And some of them had been not making a decision for a year or even more. So here's the issue, right? It looks simple, like we've got A, B, and C, but this is actually what happens inside the business owner's head. It's not actually as simple as it looks on the outside. It's like you've got a spider in your brain, and let's call him the spider of doubt. I just made this up today, right? But here's how it goes, right? So the business owner starts laying out the advantages and disadvantages of option A, right? So we start with option A, logical, right? But what happens is, just before the business owner gets to the end of the list on A, the spider doubt pops up and he says, hang on a second, that's going to impact D. We hadn't even thought about D before, right? So the business owner doesn't get to finish A and already starts working through D. But just before the business owner gets to the end of the process and going through D, the spider actually comes up and says, hang on a second, what about C? So now the business owner starts thinking about C. And the spider of doubt comes up and he says, well, hang on, there's also E. That's important to you, right? It's not got nothing to do with the business, but it's important to you personally. So now the business owner is trying to balance up C and E, and A has kind of gone somewhere back in the distance. And so the business owner basically hasn't even got to B yet, and nothing has been gone through fully. Hasn't gone through A yet fully, hasn't gone through C yet fully, or even those D's and E's that were just like came out of the ether, right? So basically what happens is a business owner then just looks around and goes, man, this is too complicated, and just says, stop, like have a glass of wine, I'll come back and look at it next week. But guess what happens? Like next week is exactly the same thing. It's just this mess of webs and jumping from one idea to another without being able to finish one strand, like just finish one strand without another one intersecting or you going off on a tangent, right? So do you ever feel like that? Like, have you got that spider doubt lurking inside your head? So like I have, and I've had in the past, and I still do every now and again, but there's one way that I know to make him work for you instead of working against you. We're going to talk about that again.